I remember John gave me the script for the season finale episode, and I read it, and I loved it. It had a lot of action. It had a lot of great character stuff and a lot of emotion. But there was a character that came in at the end of it, and in the script it was written as a character called Plo Koon. And I knew Plo Koon was a Jedi, I think, from the prequel trilogy, and I was like, well, how are we visualizing this? And he said, come over here in the corner, I want to talk to you. And he gave me the real news that it was in fact not Plo Koon, but it was going to be Luke. And I needed a moment. And I needed to know, because I've had a long relationship with John, and I said, are you being serious right now? Is this real? You're bringing the guy back? And he said, we're bringing the guy. But I instantly went from being thrilled to sort of feeling the weight of responsibility of this character. Because outside of all the technical considerations of how we were going to bring Luke Skywalker of that period to life, there was a real responsibility in the storytelling to have it feel organic in the context of The Mandalorian. Because it's very easy to see a version where you bring Luke into The Mandalorian and it completely usurps all the drama. We had a lot of conversations in the writing, in the shooting, in editorial about how much Luke was enough, how much was too much, finding that balance. Weirdly, he's a device. I mean, he comes in, it's not like he's the delivery guy, but none of the characters are sitting there in awe of, oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker. He's the guy who blew up those Death Stars. That's not where they're coming from. He is a Jedi. He's this mythical figure because none of them have ever really encountered a Jedi. That was interesting to me, and I felt like, as I think John and Dave felt, that this is a balancing act that we can figure out, and we can make it feel still like The Mandalorian, but feel like we're broadening the palette a little bit. We knew we wanted Mark Hamill front and center, because you can't bring back Luke Skywalker without Mark Hamill. I suppose technologically speaking, you could, but we didn't want to. We wanted to have the real guy. We wanted Mark here, because he is Luke Skywalker. Over the holidays, this would have been December 2019, John and I drove up together to Mark's house, and we brought the script, and we brought Luke Skywalker's wardrobe, and we brought Grogu with us. Mark was so gracious. We came in. John and I sat with Mark's wife as he was in his office reading the script in real time. So we were on pins and needles because it wasn't not necessarily a given that he was going to be interested. I think he's very protective of this character, and rightfully so. He came out and he was thrilled. And I think a huge weight was lifted off of John's shoulders when that happened. I had had some experience with de-aging technology on the Ant-Man movies. In the first Ant-Man, we de-aged Michael Douglas from basically 70 to 40 years old. And in the second one, we did Michael, we did Michelle Pfeiffer, and we did Lawrence Fishburne. There was a company called Lola who had done most of this de-aging technology. So we reached out to Lola and talked to them about it and had them on stage supervising all of this. In the first season, John was able to successfully keep Grogu a secret, but he was revealed at the end of the first episode. Second season, we had to make it all the way through the entire season to the end of the last episode and not have this spoiled. In hindsight, it's a bit of a miracle that it remained a secret. And I'm thrilled because for people to be able to discover that in real time was magical. This is a character that people have over a 40-year relationship with, right? There is an emotion that just comes out of seeing that character again. Certainly seeing that character show up in this show. And also for fans, I was 13 when the original Star Wars opened, so I grew up with Star Wars. And there was always that fanboy part of me that wanted to see, what's he like in full peak Jedi mode post Return of the Jedi? And we had a chance to do that. Many years ago, I think it was 1993, I was directing a making-of documentary for Forrest Gump with Robert Zemeckis. And ILM at that time was doing the stuff where, they made JFK talk and President Johnson and all these various people that Forrest Gump meets along the way. And I remember Ken Ralston and Bob Zemeckis and all the visual effects people who were working on that movie having that very conversation, in the early 90s about this is really, we're just sort of starting to crack this technology in a kind of remedial way. But there's going to come a point where it's going to be so sophisticated that, it could certainly be used in really bad ways. It was important that the end of that show have a really strong, slow build and build in emotion about how the audience was responding to the appearance of that character and to the separation of Mando and Grogu. I talked with John a lot about the ending of E.T., the way that you spend a whole movie with E.T. and Elliot, and then there's a certain point where E.T. has to go. And that whole ending where Spielberg goes around and you're just witnessing the emotion between E.T. and Elliot, the emotion of E.T.'s mom and brother, everybody in that scene, and it is, all through this amazing John Williams score. But I said, I think we want to introduce a little bit of that into the Star Wars universe. Like, let's have that, not be afraid of that emotion at the end of the thing, because that's, to me, that was the win of that episode. And it felt like it merited it, because to split up those two characters at the end of that season broke a lot.
If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe. Do it! And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.